all your troubles now, I won't be around.
Hi again, it's Terry with BuzzMoncton.com. Thanks for dropping in. Today we're here with the Backyard Devils on the occasion of the CD launch of their latest album, actually called Honky Tonk Heartbreakers. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. And
thank you.
All right, we have Eric. He's the bearded one.
That's right.
And then we have Remy, who's a bearded one.
Bearded one.
Chris is a bearded one, and then Dylan is a bearded one also. So you guys kind of look this way on purpose, or what?
I started it.
And I'm lazy. I was going to say I'm pretty lazy with the shave. It's very convenient.
It's been a whirlwind story for you guys as far as your success. I mean, it happened seemingly all at once. After a few years apart, the nucleus of the band, Eric and Remy. Now, you're brothers or cousins?
Brothers.
You're brothers, right? Yeah. So you guys have been in the market here for quite a few years. You played throughout Metro Moncton here in the Maritimes for quite a while, and then you kind of separated for a while. So can you give us a little bit of history on how the Backyard Devils first came back together?
Well, I was actually never a musician. I grew up in a musical family, but Remy was the musician in the family, and I grew up around that. My mother's side of the family is really, really musical. And so, yeah, I grew up playing hockey, and Remy was the musician in the band, and I moved out west, and I guess I needed to get away from him mostly to kind of discover that.
Okay.
I also was able to play music and write and learn how to sing out there, or just sitting around campfires, and so that's how I kind of discovered myself, I guess, then came home to start a band with him, and that was the plan. So I spent 5 years in Alberta and came home to play music with Remy, and then a year later we met Chris and Dylan, and it just kind of went from there, I guess.
Yeah, well, there's a solid chemistry in the band. That's been pretty obvious since day one, right? And so,
well, it's been evident to me from day one, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going back now a couple of years. You recorded that first album. It netted you 3 awards at the Music New Brunswick Gala in 2011 or 2012.
2011, I think.
Yeah, and then you ended up touring the world pretty much. You went to Europe, for goodness sake. So that's pretty exciting. How do you get from recording an album, getting back to town to record with your brother, to playing Europe and recording an award-winning album?
It's interesting for me, particularly, just because this is my first band. And suddenly, I write a few tunes and get some guys together, and suddenly we're in Europe. So it's been, I'm super grateful and very fortunate. But I mean, these guys have been around the block for a number of years. Remy played in bands, and Dylan has played in bands, and Chris does music full time. So, but personally for me, it's been a hell of a ride, for sure. We've been to France and Switzerland and the UK. We've been over what's the expression? Across the pond.
Yeah,
we've been across the pond a few times now. Yeah.
I'd like to make a little side note. That,
No,
I want to make a side.
No side notes. There are no
now.
footnotes in this interview.
I'd like to make a side note that I'm not bitter at all. That I've been playing music since I was 14 years old, and I never won any awards in all of my 15 bands that I've been in. And my brother was in his first band, and it's still just his first band, and he's got all these awards.
It's because I'm a genius.
That's what it is. He's the musical genius. He's the nucleus.
He's the nucleus.
Yes.
So Honky Tonk Heartbreaker is the name of the new album. It's been out for a few months now, even though your official launch is tonight. The response has been really well, huh?
It's been good, yeah, absolutely.
So the album is really solid, and compared to the first one, and everybody draws comparisons on a sophomore album, it seems,
of course.
Right? So there was a lot of similarities I found in the sound, the overall sound of the album, but then there's some other parts where it's a lot bolder sounding. There's a lot more, it seems more adventurous.
Well, we recorded at the same studio with George, who's really, really good with his gear and has a great ear. So the sound of the album, we were definitely, we were aiming kind of to something similar than the first. We didn't want to make leaps and bounds from there, but songwriting, song structure, when we recorded our first album, I barely knew Chris, barely knew Dylan. We were there for 3 days. And then, the new album, Honky Tonk Heartbreaker, we've known each other for 4 years, have played countless shows, and so we're best friends now. So when
we are.
I guess. But when we step into the studio, when we step into the studio, it's a different band. It's a different band. So the songs have changed. The band has grown. And
you mentioned your producer, George Beliveau, correct?
That's right.
Studio Memramcook.
Yeah.
He's in Grammarasjö now.
He's in Glamorgan.
Yeah, he's from Memramcook. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He and I are real tight.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm sure I've been there lots of times.
It was strange for me because I remember our first album. I was a little apprehensive of working with George. I didn't know him. All these guys knew him really well, and he'd said he'd help us out, and I was like, George does a totally different kind of country that I'm into and that we're doing, but we went, and we worked with George, and
he dove right in.
Oh, he dove right in, and it didn't take very long for me to realize how much of it, he's freaking smart. Oh, yeah. He got a great ear, knows his stuff, and I couldn't be happier than working with George.
I want to ask you about a song on the album called Cowboy. Mm-hmm. You guys sound like a vagabond kind of a band, you know what I mean? You've got that really earthy, gypsy
it's raw.
Thing about you. Yeah, it's very raw, right? And I think Cowboy, the song, kind of speaks to the vagabond lifestyle a little bit, doesn't it? Is that kind of your personal experiences on the road, or?
That's actually a song about my dad. When we were growing up, when Remy and I were growing up, you know how people, when you're a kid, they always ask you like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember when we were kids, I'd ask my dad like, what did you want to be when you were a kid? And he'd always say a cowboy. My dad was fascinated with cowboys. We'd always watch, like Western movies and Clint Eastwood and all that stuff. And my dad's big country Western fan. And so I'm not sure exactly how the idea came about, but a few lines in, I guess I was like, wow, this is totally about my dad. And so Cowboy is about my dad. He just wanted to be a cowboy.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So the future's looking bright for you guys. Any more tours of Europe in the near future? Are you just going to go across Canada, or what's the next step?
We're off to Europe twice this year.
In a few weeks.
In a few weeks, and then again in August for a festival in France. But mostly we're gonna try to concentrate and work in the Maritimes a lot more. There are a lot of festivals we haven't played that we really want to. Some that we've played and really want to go back. We're not in a position to do music full time, which is okay with us. And so touring for weeks and weeks on end is just not a possibility for us. So we really want to
keep it close.
Yeah, keep it close to home and work hard. And we've enjoyed the ride. So we have no plans to stop.
No, well, the
soon.
Album sounds solid, and I don't think it'll be stopping anytime soon, because there's a lot of potential there, and no doubt you'll be getting offers from outside the Maritimes too all year.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So.
Eric,
thank you.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Chris,
thank you.
Hey, all right, Dylan. All the best to you guys. Congratulations on the album, Remy.
Thanks.
And I'm Terry with BuzzMoncton.com. Come back and see you soon.
Later.
Tell your friends that I'm a fool, but that you don't